Hey there, Margo here. It is Wednesday, July 22nd in the afternoon. It's kind of warm. I've got my iced tea back here. How are you? I'm doing like 4 videos a year now, it seems, but I have a lot more time to do them now because, as I haven't shared this anywhere, I don't think, my job's been cut in half. Yeah, awesome. I'm okay. Fortunately, I'm a lot better off than a lot of other people in this situation. I know a lot of people who have lost their jobs. I have a lot of friends and family who have lost their jobs. So we're okay. But it has been an adjustment. I found out that was going to happen in May. I think it was like mid-May. And so June was about just like scrambling, trying to get as much of my job, all my projects, like a little bit ahead of the game before the cut kicked in on July 1st. And since then, I've been trying to adjust to the new schedule. So yeah, it's not been awesome. Yeah, but I'm trying to be patient with myself. I'm not a patient person with myself. I want to like hurry up and get things done. And having this like forced time limit on me has been a big adjustment. I want to like keep going, but I can't. I have to stop. When the clock stops, I have to stop. So that's been a little weird. But other than that, we're okay. My family is well. We have a roof over our heads. Like I said, we're doing all right. And my birthday is in a few days, as a matter of fact. And our in-laws, my sister-in-law, my husband's Margo, really? I'm the wife. My husband's sister has invited us to stay with her and her family in Palm Desert. She got a property. This is so sweet. She got a property with like a house on one side and like a guest house on the other side. So we're going to be separate, but also together, which will be very fun. I'm actually really looking forward to it. My husband and I were just saying like, we could really use this getaway. So anyway, the other thing I've been doing, if you have followed me on Instagram, is that I have been taking care of projects around my house, which I haven't gotten to in the almost 3 years that we've lived here now. And that has been very fun and very rewarding. And you're looking at one of them right now. This is the patio, which we didn't have when we moved in, but I'll tell you that story in a second. Anyway, for all of us, every person I talk to, ask how they are in my life, that, we all kind of are saying the same thing, that we have good days and we have bad days. and it's just kind of been like that, and we're kind of just learning to ride the surf of this thing. And, I do have people in my life now who have had it, and I hope everybody in your life is okay. But yeah, you just never know. We just never know. And so all we can do is try to make things as nice as we possibly can with what we have. And so I've been doing a lot of little home improvement projects. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen them. And maybe I'll do some videos of them coming up. For those of you who don't know, I was a professional interior designer for about a little over 20 years. That's what I went to grad school for. And I left the industry about 5 years ago. Pretty much, about 5 years ago. And don't miss it. Don't miss it at all. I really don't. I started doing more writing and professionally, and I also started doing a lot more professional social media and a lot more community organizing and community outreach, and that's what my job is now, and I love it. I get to use a lot of my design skills, but I get to use them in designing a healthier community, which is something that I find really rewarding. So I really do like that a lot, even if I have to do it in half the amount of time in a week. But anyway, I've been fixing up the house. Our house is about, I think I've pinpointed it to about 1911. And where I live, there's our little house, which is about 850 square feet. There's 4 of us living there, 850 square feet. And then right next to us is this big commercial building, and it's all one property. And my parents purchased this property. Again, I'm super lucky that I have this. My parents purchased this property in the early 90s. So my mom still owns it, and she rents it out to tenants. And the patio that I'm sitting on right now is new, actually. It was not here. It wasn't even here when we moved in. Originally, where I'm sitting right now, this was the little baby one-car garage that was built probably a little bit after our house was built, so probably about 100 years ago. And then at some point in the 1970s, so this was a garage where I'm sitting right now. At some point in the 1970s, the fellow who owned the property ran like a neighborhood grocery store out of the big building. And he turned what was the garage for my house into the meat locker for the grocery store, because he had a butcher counter in there. So it was like a real meat locker, like with a big heavy door and the whole bit. And then when my parents took the property and we put our design office in there in the early 2000s, we turned the meat locker into just like a long-term storage space. You could see by my face, it was icky. And I don't have any pictures of it because it took up so much space that there was only literally only that much space between the meat locker and my house on one side and the meat locker. There's barely enough room to open the door of the meat locker to get in without hitting the building on the other side. So, which I'm sure was not to code, but anyway. This past year or so, my mom has had to renovate like a whole bunch of stuff in the building. There was a lot of wood rot and it needed a new roof. I mean, just everything. And the meat locker / storage space was rotting. So we decided to just knock it down. And although my house, faces this canyon back here, it never occurred to any of us that once we knocked that structure down, that there would be a beautiful, you see that? Beautiful canyon view. Who knew? Gorgeous. And what's so funny is even then, which was about maybe a year ago that we knocked that down. Even then, I wasn't thinking of turning this into a patio. It was just a concrete slab out here. I actually was just planning to use it for storage. Just put my storage bins out here. Can you believe that? This whole pandemic thing happened. And we were going a super long time without seeing our friends and our family. I mean, my mom lives just around the corner from us. And, we couldn't even go and sit with her. We'd be in front of her front yard and be far apart, or she would come over and stand in my front yard, walk her dog over. Not the same as sitting for a spell, you know what I mean? And then our friends that we were used to seeing on a regular basis. And I had a few friends who, during this time, like I said, we're so lucky. We have some friends who've been through some very, very hard things, things that would be hard under any circumstances, let alone these circumstances, things that, at another time, had I gotten the call, I'd have dropped everything, raced over to their homes and hugged them at the very least. And you can't do that now, right? And so when that just drove me up the wall. I just didn't know what to do about it. And so I was out here one day kind of shuffling things around. And I suddenly realized I was looking at the slab of the garage, and it's 12 feet by almost 20 feet. And it's bigger than almost any space inside my house. But it's outside, of course. And I thought, wait a minute, I have all this old patio furniture if I put some seating slap up over here and some seating slap up over there and some seat, we could all be sitting far enough apart. You can get to this patio without going indoors. I could have a social distancing patio. Amazing. And so I'll do a little tour at the very end of this video. But anyway, it's been a really fun project. It's been done on a very, very low budget. So everything you're going to see in the tour, the whole thing, as I'm looking around, I maybe spent $100. Yeah, maybe about $100 with the supplies. And there were a few things that I bought new, but almost everything, all the furniture I had already. Maybe I gave it a coat of spray paint just to freshen it up a little bit. And some things, like you'll see there are these stone pieces as it goes around. Like, we did not bring those in. Those were here. They were left by a previous tenant. And in fact, they were kind of, which is another reason I wasn't thinking about using this space. The stone pieces were kind of scattered all over the slab. But my husband is a very strong, athletic type of a guy, and he has kind of moved them out of, you can see there's some stacked right here. This table base was here. It is extremely heavy. And my mom happened to have this little glass tabletop in her patio that she wasn't using, so voila. And all of the plants, I only bought $25 worth of plants. You'll see there's lots and lots and lots of plants. Everything else is from cuttings, from my mom's house or from my own garden, or some cases I just went down the canyon and cut some stuff, and it's growing in pots now. So yeah, super low budget. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw my planter project. So I said the first thing I did was I made this planter / room divider thing out of old filing cabinets that I fished out of the dumpster at work. Yes, I went crawling in the dumpster at work. But I got these two great file cabinets, and I gave them the coat of paint, a $5 can of spray paint, and voila, I have a planter. And yeah, so very, very low budget. Everything, anything I painted with leftover paint from my house, and some of it wasn't even from, it was paint I found under my house, like it wasn't even ours, somebody else had left it there. So it's, using what we have, doing a lot of upcycling, and it's been really fun. First of all, it's helped me kind of keep myself occupied. It's sort of meditative for me, and but most importantly, my mom can come over and sit here, and we can enjoy it. There's always a nice breeze here, which I didn't realize. Like, even on a really hot day, there's always shade. I have an umbrella I'm sitting under, you'll see, and there's always shade, and there's always like a nice breeze. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to. And I've been doing a lot of projects indoors as well, doing little minor repairs and sprucing things up here and there, and really trying to do it on the cheap, not just because I'm on a very limited budget now, but also just, I feel like if I'm going to be sharing it with all of you, it needs to be super affordable. This little lantern, look at this. So first of all, let me just show you, these are a couple of the things that I bought. So this large mason jar here, that's a half-gallon mason jar in this amber color. I got that at Walmart. There were 2 of them for $5. And what I do is, when I have somebody over, I fill it with water, I go out in the canyon, and I clip some I have a lot of trees that are blooming right now, so I'll clip off a couple of blooms from some of the trees I have back here, put them in the vase. It's this big thing, for free $99. It looks amazing. And then this blue lantern, I bought 3 of these at Michael's the other day. They were on clearance. I guess they had them for 4th of July. They were like $2.25 a piece. Pretty fantastic. And there's all kinds of things that you can, you don't have to buy to use for furniture. Milk crates. Like I have a milk crate I'm gonna paint store my garden hose in, but you could turn that into a table. Anything can be a table. Anything can be a table. Lesson number one. And you know, there are just miracles you can work with spray paint or chalk paint. All I'm saying. And I'll share some of these projects with you if that's what if you are interested in seeing that. But anyway, I hope you enjoy that patio tour. I have really fallen off the tracking train with my plan these days, just because, especially I was doing super well until I actually got to the July 1st when my schedule got cut in half, and trying to cram, you know, a week's worth of work into a few hours a day, 4 days a week. I haven't quite hit my groove yet. And I was like, I can't think of all of these things all at the same time. I can't. For one thing, like on days that I'm working, I don't get a lunch break. I'm working from 10 to 3. And that's fine. I mean, that's totally doable. I do get a break, but it's short, you know, that I could go get a snack and something to drink, but not like lunch. So it's taken some getting used to. Kind of reminds, it's a little bit like the schedule I had when I was a Weight Watchers leader, actually. Same thing. I had days that I was doing lunchtime meetings, so I myself didn't get a lunch. So it's kind of figuring that out. It's been a little bit rough, but what I have been doing is wearing my Fitbit again. It's back, and that's been helpful. And I also, in my planner, you know, I'm a planner person, as you all know. I'm a paper planner since the Reagan administration. As techie a person as I am, I have to paper plan, otherwise it doesn't stay in here. So in my planner, I have 2 planners that I use, one for work and one for everything else. In my personal planner, I have a section for habit tracking. So I track whether I got my steps, I track whether I was following my Weight Watchers plan that day. There's been a lot of blanks there lately, like I said. I track whether I'm doing my journaling, and that's been helping me a lot too, and we can talk about that. And I also track, did I have a salad? I'm trying to have a salad every day. Been really good about that. So I am tracking some really healthy habits that I know will help me, but I have not been tracking in my iTrack bites, very sporadically, like 2 days a week, you know. So maybe next month, after my birthday's right at the end of the month, so maybe after that, then I can get back to that. But like I said, I'm trying to just be like realistic that this is a big adjustment. We just found out that our kids are doing virtual learning in the fall, another thing to adjust to. So, you know, you can't do all the things all the time. And so I'm just trying to make the best choices I can under the circumstances. And yeah, getting there. I'm getting there. I would really love to know how you are. Let me know. How are you coping with all this? Are you also like, have good days and bad days? And are you like really strictly following a plan? Like, I know a lot of times like that really helps me, but since this change in my schedule, it's not helping. So I'm just not gonna punish myself about it. But is that helping you? I would love to know. Or are you just like, I can't even deal right now? So let me know how you are, and if there's any questions I can answer for you. I think I'll have more time to do more of these. I really have missed doing YouTube a lot. So I thought it would be fun to share some of these little projects that I've been working on. But for now, I'll leave you with my tour of the social distancing patio, and I hope you enjoy it, and stay well, everybody. Bye.